This is Kana Kopiern. Above the fact that I still don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, nothing about her is that unordinary. She's the daughter of a baron, going to the same school as the rest of the nobility, attending the same classes, conversing with the same friends, learning the same skills. This is Sylph Beeble. Above the fact that I still don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, nothing about her is that unordinary. She's the daughter of a duke, going to the same school as the rest of the nobility, attending the same classes, conversing with the same friends, learning the same skills. She is, however, engaged to the crown prince. Sylph walks into a hall, unsure of what exactly everyone else is so busy chatting about, only to be blindsided with the accusation that she's been abusing Kana Kopiern, even pushing her down the stairs at one point out of jealousy, because her fiancé likes Kana more than he does her. Her cries fall on deaf ears. Nothing she says is getting through to the seemingly bloodthirsty crowd. They've decided the outcome of the scenario before she even stepped foot inside these halls. This is Nagata Kabi. She is about to have sex. 1. A story about stories. 2. A story so real it feels wrong to even call it that. And 3. The way they've intertwined in my head. The amount of times an opening on these same lines has greeted me is enough to make Kana's betrayal feel almost cheap. I could sense it, the way her smile was designed to be capable of both unnerving innocence and dark twisted ecstasy while remaining unmodeled. The way she looked at Sylph's fiancé and the single drop of sweat from Sylph's cheek as she walked into what she thought was a normal ball was so obvious I wouldn't even call it foreshadowing. This story has been akin to comfort food for the past few years of my life. I knew the tropes. I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. I knew that this is where this story will truly begin. And yet, just like Sylph, I too was blindsided. In her lowest moment, she admitted to herself and by extension to the reader that her time with Kana was unquestionably happy, and that regardless of what just happened, she finds it valuable. Not only that, but she is all too ready to simply accept her fate, resign herself to the role of villainess. Hope that Kana will be happy with her choices and pray that she will at least be able to get back to those books she loved so much. Nagata Kabi talks in her book, My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness, about topics that are heavy. Her cute and slightly messy art is given unexpected weight by depicting events from her life that require a solid trigger warning. Complicated feelings are laid bare in front of the viewer. Struggles who are notorious for placing their victims in a place where talking about their pain is a risk barely worth taking are explained in detail I've never seen before. This book is somehow simultaneously easy and hard to read. I finished it in 20 minutes and felt paralyzed for the rest of the day. It's sobering and painful as it is valuable, in a way only truth can be. Mikhail Pakel said it best in his video about the book. Kabi uses this manga to confess. Sylph is thrown into the forest of a neighboring kingdom. She will never be found by her people again. Instead, the monster of Dagenhelm grants her a wish. This is a girl who loves stories, that finds herself thrusted into a land with culture richer than she could ever imagine. And yet the interconnected story of her and Kana reigns supreme above all others. Their dichotomy is magnetizing. The way they speak in tune is truly one of a kind. By using them to reveal its true nature, even monsters like Fairytales creates a transition even more seamless and beautiful between its two acts than the result of that transition. Its themes of roles, of expectations, of self-discovery and acceptance are unique and refreshing. They won't leave my mind. Nagata Kabi takes you on a journey filled with pain, with confusion, with mistakes. Assumptions turn out to be incorrect. Revelations happen so often you'd think you're playing Pong again. The calmness in which she describes suffering is almost uncanny. And yet, the best adjective to describe this book would be real. This is a tale about a person coming to understand herself, learning to make peace with herself, even the parts she didn't want to, especially the parts she didn't want to. Its themes of roles, of expectations, of self-discovery and acceptance are unique and refreshing, and they just won't leave my mind. I feel like I've been on a similar journey myself. It's easy to understand what I don't want. I know pain when I see it. I'm used to it. I have plenty of experience with it. But when someone asks me, "What do you want to do?" I can barely muster a reaction. What do I want to do? How do I become fulfilled? What does it even mean to be happy? Decisions feel impactful yet insignificant. Ideas get pushed away as quickly as they brush past my consciousness. Fear builds a wall, another wall, another wall, another wall, and then a ceiling. When did the shield stop and the prison begin? In both my lesbian experience with loneliness and even monsters like Fairytales, there are endings that satisfied me. There are panels that left me with a smile on my face, ready to take on the world. In both instances, they blindsided me for the final time. Kabi's and Kana's chapters continue after what I was sure was the end. Where another story would call it quits, they persisted. It is made crystal clear that life simply goes on. It is not a code to be cracked, it is a constant presence that cannot be escaped. It is a struggle that cannot be worked around. Kabi's revelation in chapter 5 does not hold the weight that it does because it exists in the last chapter of the story proper. Kana's character art is not given screen time for no reason. The characters are in a worse state than they would be if they were left off earlier, but for me, these chapters are the most comforting. The reminder that even the people who figured it out did not actually figure it out makes living without a purpose feel less lonely, less weird, less like a failure, more fine. I have not scratched the surface of these works. I've been careful to avoid spoilers for these two pieces of art and keeping it to what I felt after experiencing them. Please go read them in your own time. They are worth it. Special thanks to Mikhail Pakel. Your video got me to read Kabi's book, and I'm very grateful for that. As for me though, it looks like this is still my life for now, and I'll keep living it.